Hi, everybody. It's Colleen Pearl, the Cool Crone, and I thought that I would come in and record just a couple of quick readings about a few of our favorite people in the Dumpy White House. And before I get started, I wanted to show you something really cool. You know that I have an affiliation with Otter Spirit, and that I have discount codes in all my description boxes so that you can get things. And they just recently sent me a holiday discount code, which is really great. It's 35%. You can't beat that. And what they asked me is if I wanted to receive one of their spheres. And if you saw my last video where I talked about Otter Spirit, you know how gaga I was for the Garnet bracelet. Well, they sent me a Garnet sphere. I love it. I love it so much. It's so beautiful. So this is it. And it looks kind of brown, but I think I just have really bad lighting in my studio. I'm sorry. Pull it up here. It's really pretty. It's really pretty. It's beautiful striations in it. It looks like a little planet, doesn't it? It looks like Pluto. Anyway, it's really heavy and it's really beautiful. I'm just going to read you what the card says about Garnet. I am passionate and loving. The intention is confidence and love. The zodiac signs are Leo, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Libra. I'm a Libra with Capricorn rising. And the chakra is the root. And I've always been very security based, but I'm not a person that like worries about my security. I'm just like, I just take care of that. That's just the first thing is I wanted my daughters to always feel safe. That's just a very big thing for me. And it says, yeah, passionate and loving. So this is the cards that you get when you buy something from Otter Spirit. They send you a card that tells you about the stone, so that if you forget what you read on the website, you can always go back and look it up. Because what I use my stones for is when I'm coming up on things that are challenging, I'll reach for a stone. And I don't always remember what all the meanings are of the stones. I love stones and I have worked with them and studied them for years, but I'm actually not really good at remembering what they are for. I remember the ones I like, and I'll remember like 2 or 3 keywords like rose quartz, love, like that's about how I go. And then when I really want to use it, like say I was actually going to do a spell, I would look it up. I would look up the keywords and make sure that I was picking the right thing. But generally, as I've said in the past, I go for what I'm drawn to. And man, when I opened up this Garnet sphere, I was just like, baby, you're coming home with me. So this little honey is going to stay with me at my desk where I do my work, because that's where I need her vibration. That's where I need her energy. And also when I'm doing the videos about Three Eye Atlas, I really need this right next to me. So I just wanted to show you that. I love it. I'm very excited for having it. And I must say, it does kind of change the feeling in the room when I bring her out. So I don't know. Not everybody's into spheres. I have a lot of spheres all over my house. I have different ones. And this one just really kind of struck a chord for me. So I hope you like it. Okay, now we're going to get on with the readings. And the first thing that I'm going to read about is the impending impeachment of Mr. Hegseth. So give me a second to get the cards set up, and I'll be right back. Now we're doing the reading on Pete Hegseth, and I have laid out the cards, and it's very low key. It's very interesting. So first things first, it starts out with the Emperor. So he also has these kind of delusions of grandeur that he really thinks that he is running things at the Department of Defense. He really believes that he is the person in charge. I don't think he is. I think he's making decisions, horrible ones, but I don't think he's really in charge. And what comes up for him is the Nine of Wands. So he is constantly defending his choices. He is constantly just defending all of his actions because he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's way in over his head. And what he's sitting on top of is the Chariot. Things move quickly. When he says go, things do go. And it's I think, shocking to him. I think it's astounding to him that he can open his mouth and say something and then people will do things. I think he almost anticipated that there would be much, much more resistance to his commands than there are. And some things I think they have said to him, no, no, Pete, you can't do that. But somehow they blew up that second boat. So I don't know how that happened. That's horrible. Maybe I don't know. I don't know why they would risk and use human lives in order to prove a point. That just isn't right. He has apparently worked hard to get where he's at. I don't know if he felt like he paid his dues at Fox News, like that was a penance, having to work there and make a lot of money and be on camera and look good, all the while drinking his way through the day. I don't know. I don't know if that's a penance or not. But what crowns him is the devil. So he is also a devil. He thinks of himself as the emperor, and he is another devil. So he is very, very much like Trump. He is also a Gemini like Trump. So yeah, he's maniacal. He's chemically imbalanced. He's just not really good. And the situation that is coming up with this impeachment thing, he is going to have a big decision to make. And I think that decision is, do I stay and face it, or do I resign? Well, he's proven he's not, a super brave individual, so he's probably going to have to resign. What we see here is he thinks that what he does is right. So he has completely gone over to the other side. He's gone over to the other side of believing that what he did was just. What he did was protecting the U.S. So even though he's probably afraid of the fallout, he has convinced himself that he is making good decisions, and he's not. Other people perceive him as a total bully. Well, a drunkard and a bully, that he is not right in the head, that the things that he's doing are unbalanced and not very well thought out. His hope is that a woman will bail him out, a woman will protect him, or that his alcohol will protect him, the Queen of Cups. How literal sometimes these things are. So he's going to be very, very bombed if he does have to go into Congress and face the music. And the final outcome is him, the King of Swords. Now, kings, for me, very often mean a retirement, a leaving, an ending. Someone who has matured to the point that they will just retire rather than, there's no place for them to move up. They've hit the top of the food chain in their respective field. And that is true for him. How he wouldn't be bumped upstairs, he wouldn't be bumped downstairs. He would either be impeached, fired, or forced to resign, or they'd let him stay, which would be horrible, but that could be the outcome. And he doesn't look particularly happy here. Not a real happy face this guy has. So it's not good. It's not good for Petey. But they probably will go forward with the impeachment. And another reading on this justice card coming up in the area for his own self-image is that he may feel like it's just that he is impeached. He may, in a moment of clarity, he may feel that, well, yeah, I did do the wrong thing. I guess that was wrong. Because he did serve in the military before. So, maybe in a sober moment, if he can be honest with himself, maybe that's how he feels. Otherwise, in a non-sober moment, he's probably just convincing himself that everything that he's doing is just and right, and he made the right choice. If you're going into a cult, you got to drink the Kool-Aid. You can't really survive in a cult if you don't stay drinking the Kool-Aid and believing the party line. When you stop believing, you have to leave the cult. So that's kind of where he's at. He's at that tipping point. He's at that point where he has to make a decision. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. All right, let's go on to the next reading. Okay, this reading is going to be about Marco Rubio and the dreaded Calibri font. very serious topic. So on Wednesday, the State Department ordered that all government correspondence from that point on needed to be in Times New Roman. Now, this doesn't really seem like an earth-shaking thing. I mean, in my regular day job, we have to change the font from Times New Roman to something else all the time, or back to Times New Roman. It happens all the time. I don't think it's really a big deal, but I think it's interesting that with all the stuff going on, that's what he's putting a focus on. So it says that Secretary of State Marco Rubio has ordered diplomatic correspondence to stop using the Calibri font and return to the more traditional Times New Roman effective Wednesday, reversing a Biden administration shift to the less formal typeface that he called wasteful, confusing, and unbefitting the dignity of U.S. government documents. Them's fighting words right there. Typography shapes how official documents are perceived in terms of cohesion, professionalism, and formality, Rubio said in a cable sent to all U.S. embassies and consulates abroad Tuesday. And I think at the beginning of this, I said that it was all government correspondence. He's talking about diplomatic correspondence. In it, he said the 2023 shift to the sans serif Calibri font emerged from misguided diversity, equity, and inclusion policies pursued by his predecessor, Antony Blinken. And Rubio ordered an immediate return to Times New Roman, which had been among the standard fonts mandated by previous administrations. And then the AP does a comparison side by side of Calibri and Times New Roman. Basically, a serif font are the ones that have the little tails on the ends of the letters, and a sans serif font doesn't. It's just very clean. It's just the shape of the letter, no extra little tails on it. And Calibri just happens to be what you get when you start typing in Microsoft Word right out of the box. It's just a very plain font. So I don't think it's such a big deal, but what I wanted to read on is what will this mean? Does this mean that certain documents have to be redone, revised, reprinted, reconverted into PDF or whatever? So, and will this stand? Will this decision stand well into like 2026? So let's see. I'm gonna just pause my camera so that I can shuffle as long as I want, and you don't have to be bored by my shuffling. And then I will do the reading. So just hold up here. Okay, so I laid out the cards, and I'm a little surprised by what I got. The first card up was the Ace of Pentacles. Now, I can't imagine how changing the font of diplomatic correspondence gives him a gift, gives him a bonus of some kind. I can't imagine. And what crosses it is the star. Now, does this mean that this makes him a star? This just doesn't seem like the kind of issue that would warrant that much attention and accolade of any kind. I don't know. It's very weird. But at the base of it is the card for betrayal. So I'm wondering if he isn't doing this just to get back at Antony Blinken and the Biden administration. That's awfully petty, but then this is a very petty group, so perhaps that is what it's about. In the past, they were sweet. They had secret meetings and discussions about this issue. Why? Why was it such a big deal? I don't know, but I guess for Marco it was a pretty big deal because he had to have discussions about it in secret. And I know he's had discussions in secret anyway lately. Because in the article, they show him and he's on his way to a meeting in this picture with Pete Hegseth. So I'm going to come back here and I just want to read to you the caption of the picture. It says, Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives to join Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in a secure room in the basement of the Capitol to brief lawmakers on the military strike on a suspected drug smuggling boat and its crew in the Caribbean near Venezuela, September 2nd, and he's at the Capitol in Washington on Tuesday, December 9th. Now we know that they already had this meeting, but why is that? Is that the only picture they could get of Marco Rubio? They couldn't get a current picture with him like holding up a F or something, for the font. I don't know. But it's just a little weird that this is like such a big deal. Now, what crowns it is the Page of Cups. Now, that would be Hegseth. So something, and this is what Marco is expecting. Marco is expecting, probably in that meeting, that Pete wants to talk about this not being his fault. But for the font issue, I don't know who that would be. I don't know. It's getting all tangled up, you see, because this font issue is some kind of a deception or distraction to something, I think, much more serious. What comes in the front is the Queen of Wands, is Christy Nome. Yes, she's a Sagittarius. So she's also in the mix in this, I think, unless I'm wrong about who this Queen of Wands is going to be. But what comes up for him is really bad, really terrible cards. We have the Knight of Swords, which is him. He's a Gemini, right? So we have the Knight of Swords is what he thinks he's doing, is he's going in and, I mean, don't forget, he's still wearing like 6 hats in the administration. So he's not just the Secretary of State, but he's got all this other stuff that he has to take care of. So I would imagine that, yes, he is the Knight of Swords right now because he just keeps having to hack away and handle a million things every day. He doesn't have any leisure, any downtime, because he's got a stack of papers on 6 different desks that have to be attended to by him. So that's bad. But here's the card. When I had asked, is this going to stick? Is it still going to be around in 2026? Who knows what's going to... I don't know if Marco's going to be around in 2026 because the card that I'm getting is the 8 of Wands. And so this means that, things are moving fast and probably that things are changing. That's what I'm getting from this. And then we have for, what's really the kind of the outcome of what's happening, we have the Queen of Swords. So somebody's going to stand up and say, what are you doing? This makes no sense at all. And that's also going to be another air sign person. So who knows who that could be? A million people. But the final outcome is the Tower. Now, how could this situation bring about a Tower moment? Unless this is a distraction for some much bigger issue, and the meetings or whatever they're doing with this is covering up something else, because the cover-up is always worse than the crime. So while this issue with the font may seem like a silly matter, something about it is important. They had secret meetings about it. He shows up with not only, look at these first 3 cards. This is crazy. The first 3 cards, the Ace of Pentacles, a gift of some kind, crossed by the star. Whoever the star is, maybe that is Rubio. It certainly isn't Hegseth, and it certainly isn't the and it certainly isn't the previous administration with Antony Blinken. But it comes with the betrayal card. So what? I think I've brought up more questions than I've answered with this reading, but it's very interesting that Christy Nome is involved with this. Marco Rubio is trying to make this go very quickly. He doesn't want to dwell on this. He wants this just to be decided and out there and we're done. And something about it is not going to be done. Something about it is going to be devastating, actually, or he wouldn't have gotten the Tower. So that's what I have on this reading. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, my daughter's having a business meeting in the kitchen, so it may get a little background noisy, but I threw the cards out for Suzie Wiles, and I had heard, like last week, or read something that said that, the White House is getting ready in January to kind of clean house. They were going to get rid of a few people, replace a few people, and Suzie Wiles was one of those people. So thinking about her and thinking about her place in the White House, I'm thinking, why is that? I mean, they can't be blaming her for stuff that's happening to him, but maybe they can. But maybe she really wants to go. Maybe that's really what's going on, because that's got to be the most nightmare job on the face of the planet. I mean, handling him every day? Ugh. He doesn't start any meetings before noon. Apparently, he has to take all of his meals in bed. And then, of course, he has to have probably a crew of 6 to get him dressed and do the makeup and the hair and the diaper and the whole thing. It's got to be, more than getting Kim Kardashian ready. I mean, they have to like pour him into some sort of a Skims or something to get him to fit his suits. And it's just got to be a nightmare. I mean, it does look like he's lost quite a bit of weight over the last year, but he's still a big man, a big man. And of course, he's got those cankles to deal with, and that's going to be a nightmare. And I don't think Walt Nauta is at the White House. I can't tell. I can't find out. Anyway, so I threw on Suzie Wiles, and it looks like she wants to go, or they really want her to go, and that she is going to go. So let's look at the cards. So she also gets the Ace of Pentacles first. Isn't that crazy? Do you think they're paying these people to like bug off or something? Might be. Anyway, she starts with the Ace of Pentacles. She also gets crossed by a major arcana. Now, Marco Rubio had the Star. She gets the Wheel of Fortune. So clearly, her fortunes are changing. So even though she's got the Ace of Pentacles coming, things are changing. Now, she's a Taurus, and her moon is in Sagittarius, which is her little connection to Dumpy, because he's in Gemini and he loves all the Sagittarius energy. Those are opposite signs. But beneath her and the basis, her real situation of her life and her position at the White House is the Ten of Swords. So, yeah. So not only is she going to be leaving the White House, but it feels to me like it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be a good leaving. It's not going to be like, yes, Susie has decided to retire and we wish her well. It's not going to be one of those. It's going to be like some sort of, smear on her or scandal or outright humiliation or firing or something. I mean, bad, just really bad. Now, in the past, we have the Page of Wands. So that would be a younger fire sign male. And I'm sure there's 150 younger fire sign males all around that group who would sabotage her. I don't think it's somebody like Stephen Miller, but because of course he wants everything. He wants to be vice president. He wants to be chief of staff. I think he is the deputy chief of staff. He wants to be the secretary of state. He wants to be the, head of Homeland Security. He wants all that stuff. Secretary of War. He wants to be everything. He's really a megalomaniac. Let me look up his sun sign. Hold on a second. Okay, I just found out a few things about Stephen Miller that now I can't erase out of my mind, so feel sorry for me. He is also a Taurus, early sign Taurus, and his moon is in Gemini, which is his connection to Dumpy, and he's got Libra rising. I can't tell you how much air sign energy that Dumpy has around him. He loves the Gemini man. So it's interesting. You can see here with the Taurus, Susie and Stephen. So they get placed in positions where they're kind of behind the scenes, which is interesting because Taurus is the 12th from Gemini, so it's the hidden it's the hidden house, it's the hidden things. And we do have a time for Stephen Miller. That's why I know that he's Libra rising, and I can see that his Taurus sun actually falls in his 8th house. So this guy's gonna make money and be very well off no matter what he does, no matter how horrible he is. I should really do one of those degree analyses on his chart just to see how evil he is, like Pam Bondi. But anyway, he's not the Page of Wands at all. All right, back to her reading. So she's crowned also, just like Marco Rubio, by the Page of Cups. So who is this Page of Cups? This would be a water sign, younger male probably. And like I said, there's got to be, let's just call a spade a spade. The Trump White House, for all of their macho man, we're so straight, we're so, evangelical Christian, it's rife with gay men. There are gay men all over this thing. I don't know about gay women. I haven't really picked up on that. But gay men, yeah, tons of them. And abused women, women who have been traumatized and probably SUO abused, But anyway, so Susie gets the Page of Cups also on top where it's showing that she's expecting that everything will be great. So maybe Marco and Susie are depending on the same person to just sort of make things great and make sure that things don't fall apart. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know who this is. In the future, for Susie, is the moon. So this is going to be a very behind the scenes, lots of subterfuge, lots of obfuscation. It's not going to be clear to us, really, in the public, about what happens to her. They may even make it seem like it's her decision, but I don't think it is. I don't know why it wouldn't be. God, that woman's got to be nuts to want to stay working there. But and I had heard even a few months in that she was really like, ugh, I can't stand this, whatever. Well, maybe they made it better with more money somehow to convince her to stay. I don't know. Everybody in that administration seems to be just very, very money hungry. So probably that is how they made it work for her. Now, what she has coming up, the last 4 cards, is in her self-image. You'll love this. 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords, Sneaky Pete. Look at that woman. Look at her, knives out. She's got knives on everybody. So the image she has of herself is that she is the puppet master. She is making everything happen, including things with Dumpy. And that's probably true, because if she's managing his schedule, she's managing who goes to see him when he's getting fed, who goes and helps him get dressed, who manages his schedule when he's away from the White House, who manages what papers go in front of him, all of that stuff. So yeah, she kind of is the puppet master. And what others perceive, they all think she's in love with him. They all think that she's just kissing that diapered butt. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't know, the Taurus Gemini thing, I just don't get. Her hopes and fears is that she will continue. She gets the 9 of Cups. And in this deck, it's not the woman in the garden with the bird of paradise. It's these man and woman at Christmas time opening presents. Like, they just have everything in the world. They're very happy. They have each other, but it's the security and having everything that you want. And so that's what she's pretty much hoping for in this big thing. And her final outcome is the 6 of Wands. So some kind of a victory. Now, in this card, we see, in this deck rather, we see women looking at all the marvelous accessories that are managing their cleaning for them, right? It's the Housewives deck. That's why it's all focused on housework and things around the house, kids, stuff like that. Now, what this means to me is that she's going to make it work. She's not going to cave. She's not going to cave in and be like, well, it was just time for me to go. She's going to make it seem like this was her idea, like it's the best thing in the world. She's learned a thing or two from the dumpster. And to keep things bright and shiny on the surface and out in public is a really good thing to do. Plus, if she isn't actually retiring, like, how old is she? Let's just take a look here. Susie, how old are you, Susie? Yeah, she's 68. She's 68. Is she going to retire, or is she going to keep going? She's probably going to retire. And that's probably what she's going to say. But who knows? She may say, oh, yes, I'm going on for another job. And in her mind, because work is probably really, really important to her, she probably thinks that she can keep going. She's got Venus in the 3rd house in Gemini. Communications, selling things, doing social media, stuff like that. She's probably not big into the social media, because I don't remember seeing Susie Wiles pop up in my Instagram feed. But I would say that for her, doing the talking, the selling, the organizing, the arranging, the managing, that's very important to her. And she probably feels like she can do that till the day she dies. And maybe she likes to work. I don't know. She's a Taurus. I can't imagine that at some point she doesn't want to put her feet up. But anyway, that's Susie Wiles. So I think she's leaving. And I think it's going to be very weird and covered up. And we're not going to really know the truth. But she's going to try to make hay out of it. She's going to try to make the best of it. That's kind of the summary of the whole thing. Okay, let's go on to the next reading. So the last reading we're going to do is about Dumpy. Is he really trying to start a WAR with a country that starts with the letter V for victory in another continent? Is that what he's really trying to do? It appears that he is. I mean, he's instigated all these attacks on their citizenry, their fishing vessels, and now it appears that they've seized or captured an actual tanker, I think an oil tanker, off their coast. So he's stealing from them, basically. He's stealing people and resources and whatnot. So what is his end goal? Is his end goal a WAR? Is his end goal to, I don't know, make friends? It doesn't seem like it, although I bet the guy's pretty lonely. So anyway, I threw the cards out, and the cards were amazing that came out. The first card that comes out, is the Star. So he's really doing this to get attention. Like I said, he's just really doing this to play to his base and to try to get them to come back around, right? But what crosses it is very interesting. It is the High Priestess. So the challenge that he faces is that he has to hide certain things. You know, there are certain things that can't be known to the public. And the High Priestess will try to bring them out because she knows the truth. And he has to prevent her from bringing these things out. Now, usually the High Priestess is the one holding the secrets. But I think in this case, the High Priestess is probably a judge or an investigator or somebody in the government who feels that he's doing the wrong thing and that it should be exposed. And I got to tell you, with the way the astrology is right now, it's going to be exposed. At the base of this, and the way that he has dealt with things before, again we get the Seven of Swords. Sneaky Pete. Stealing. Taking what's not his. That's exactly what he's doing. He is trying to take things that are not his. And again, I ask, to what end? Maybe the WAR? Maybe he just thinks that he can take things over. I mean, that's what the Pood thought. He thought that he could just walk in and take over Ukraine, but it didn't happen. Now, in the past, his recent past is the Seven of Wands. So he has been able to make claims, because the Wands is more about, these things that he's trying to do, like the thing with Greenland, the thing with Canada, even some things with Mexico and renaming the Gulf of Mexico. He has done these things in the past, and it has, and this is all about PR for him, really. It's never mind to him that there could be lives lost. This is not his concern, because he doesn't deal in the real world. He deals in fabrication. He deals in the image. He deals in the smoke and mirrors. He is that man behind the curtain who is pulling all the levers, he thinks, and he's making it, look like the great and powerful Oz. That is really what he's trying to do. What crowns him? Mother Russia. Mother Russia. So he thinks that this is really going to either, because this is a publicity stunt, basically, either this is going to put him in Pood's good graces, or it's going to show him to be more powerful than the Putin. Interesting, right? What's actually going to happen is going to be not what he expects at all. In the future, he gets the Wheel of Fortune. Now, do you notice a theme here? A lot of these cards are repeating. The Star, the Empress, the Wheel of Fortune, all repeating from the other cards that we did for Rubio and Wiles. Very interesting. So there's something in the air that this stuff is going to happen. And as we move closer to 2026, we are all shifting into a different mindset, a different feeling, a different understanding of the world. So you know, is his administration any different? No, because look at the factions. Look at the way people are fighting and not getting along. Everybody sort of wants to push Dumpy aside and maybe bring Vance in or bring somebody else in or, bring themselves in. Like Stephen Miller probably thinks that he could be president. So it's very, very weird, all this stuff. But anyway, back to Venezuela. The self-image of Dumpy is, what a surprise, but this is really who we see him as and who the world sees him as. The rest of the world, though, kind of sees him on the way out. We get the Eight of Cups. So the rest of the world, including the American public and his base, really know that his time is past. Again, the King Lear, he's past. He represents the past. He is the past. He is in the past, and he doesn't have the power that he used to have. But he is still very, very dangerous, and that's different from having power. He's just dangerous. He can just cause chaos and make things blow up and burn and whatever and just be destroyed. But that's not true power. It's just that he's very dangerous because he's chaotic. What does he hope? Ace of Swords. He hopes he's onto something big and new, and he hopes that the world is going to follow him there. He hopes especially that the base is going to follow him there. He wants to be president again. He wants to be president forever. He's not going to live forever. Nobody does, especially not him and his health. He's really facing mortality sooner than most of us. The final outcome, however, is also stunning and interesting. The Ten of Cups. An ending. But an ending where he feels like he's won. He feels like he's winning. An interesting ending. Or it's an ending that is so emotional for him that it's just overflowing. That he just can't contain his emotion. So it's going to be very interesting. I think we're going to have to read on him and where he's going with this again, because things continually shift and morph and change. But I do see that his purpose in trying to start this engagement with that country that starts with V, his purpose here, I think, is really about publicity. It's really about his own self-image, who he thinks he is, who he wants the world to think he is, how he wants to be perceived moving forward, and he wants to be perceived as powerful and as the leader of the world. He wants to be stronger than Putin. He wants to have it all. And at the moment, he is projecting that he has it all. He is believing that he has it all. But it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's that. I can't wait for the next readings. I think I'm going to have to go back to like the Jack Smith, Tanya Chutkin kind of thing about courts, but we'll see. So put in the comments what you'd like me to read on next. And I am going to be on with Arthur on his channel on Thursday the 11th. I am doing the Cool Crone Oracle on Friday the 12th. And on Saturday, I'm doing another video about Three-Eye Atlas. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Please do all the YouTube-y things. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you really are still subscribed. And for my members, we will be doing a members meeting on Sunday, and I'm sure you've all gotten the invitation and the post for that. I think that went out already, but if it didn't, it'll be coming to you shortly. It's going to be fun. We're going to combine all the members from the website with the YouTube because we're making the transition from YouTube membership over to website membership. It's slow. We're going to take it slow. Nothing's going to happen overnight. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.